Good evening and welcome to another edition of Money Talk with Melanie. I'm your business diva, Melanie Collette, broadcasting live via SHR Media and streaming live on YouTube today, not Facebook today. Now I'm trying YouTube for the first time. Ooh, okay, this is how I can do it. Use this link. Join me live with this link. Okay, I'm trying something new this time, and I figured I would take this opportunity during COVID to try out some new technology and see how well it's going to work. Um, okay, that is not okay. There we go. Seems to be working. Okay. So my guest today is attorney Scott Smith. He's the founder and CEO of Royal Legal Solutions. So I'm excited to have him on the show today because today we're going to be discussing protections for. Hold on, let me say that again. Let me start over. We are going to be discussing with Scott today asset protection for real estate investors. I apologize for that. Like I said, I'm using new technology. I'm trying to have a few different balls in the air to see if this is going to work out. I think some people said they prefer YouTube over Facebook, so I figured I'd try YouTube to see what happens. Now, I don't see the YouTube stream, but it says that I'm live, so I'm going to trust that it is. But in the meantime, some money talk news to talk about, and I guess I should tell my Facebook peeps that I'm actually on the YouTube channel while I'm doing that. But in Money Talk News today, unfortunately, we are now up to 400,000 cases of coronavirus, or CV-19 as we're calling it. Close to apparently the death toll in the country has shot up, but that was expected because a lot of people are on ventilators and I guess are being pulled off the ventilators, and that is what is causing the death toll to go up. And so there's a lag, so to speak, with those numbers. But there are less cases, which is good. Like the number of cases is slowing down per day. So that's a good sign that hopefully we are approaching flattening the curve, which I'm sure you guys have heard. Now, this is kind of crazy, but there's a Washington Post study that says that coronavirus is infecting and killing Black Americans at a disproportionately high rate. I've heard as high as 70%. Whenever I hear stuff like that, oh, one of my fans found me. He found me on YouTube. Yay! I whenever I hear things like that, it doesn't worry me because I'm an African American, but I always worry about. This may seem odd, but I always worry about the victim mentality. I just feel like as African Americans, it's always something with us. And I know that sounds terrible, and there's many reasons why this could be the case. African Americans have disproportionately high heart disease. What do you call it? Diabetes, high blood pressure, and all of those things. Whenever you get any kind of sickness, all of those things are going to affect your sickness and how well you're able to do with those sicknesses. I want to welcome Doug I usually say the Facey chat, to the YouTube chat. Hey, Doug, if you could share this video on Facebook, I would love you forever, because I couldn't find it. I could not find it on my YouTube channel, which is super odd. Usually I go to Facebook and I can find all my stuff on Facebook, but I didn't see it on YouTube. So if my self-appointed publicist could go ahead and share this on Facebook, I'd love that. But 70% seems really super high, and of course that is something that is concerning. GM is producing 30,000 ventilators, which is wonderful, for the national stockpile under the first federal contract to be issued in conjunction with the Defense Production Act. Out in LA, citizens have been ordered to wear masks when visiting essential businesses. And I think that is the CDC recommendation for everybody all over the country. I'm going to start wearing a mask. I have to go out this afternoon, which I'm not too happy about, but I'm going to start. I haven't been wearing a mask when I go out, but I'm going to start because I feel like why not be? For everything that you hear about this coronavirus, even if you survive, it is not something that you want. And of course, coronavirus related, the government is mulling over, the Trump administration is mulling over some more small business relief, an additional $250 billion for the Paycheck Protection Program. You know, I understand the reasoning behind what they are doing. I'm really becoming concerned about the amount of money we're spending. We were already in debt and we're spending a lot of money. I get it. I understand why, but I really wish we had gone the payroll cut, the payroll tax route instead of going the giving away money route. There's no way to track it. Like I feel like there's, for example, if you're salaried and still working, do you necessarily need that $1,200 that people are going to be getting? Not necessarily, because your money situation hasn't really changed. There's probably quite a few people that are in that boat. So are we like wasting? I would rather see that money go to, you know, somebody else who is truly in need, who isn't salaried or who isn't working at all. I'm not sure that we're doing this in the most judicious way possible. You know, you guys know I'm a big fan of the Trump administration, but and listen, and I have no answers. Oh, thank you, Doug, for sharing this. I appreciate it. I'm not surely not one of the, you know, high-end experts like the president has, and I'm sure that they're doing the best they can. But it worries me about how much money we're spending, and it also worries me that we're not being more granular in the way that we're doing it. But I guess it would take longer if they did it that way, I suppose. Oh, good. Doug says I look and sound like $1 million. Well, that's good. Hopefully that means that everything is coming through pretty clear. It looks really clear and looks good on this end. I figured I'd try YouTube, but I didn't warn you guys just in case it didn't work. Plus, I'm an hour later than I usually am. I guess I had to move the appointment. You're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. I'm your business diva, Melanie Collette. My guest today is Scott Smith. He is an attorney and he's the founder and CEO of, of Royal Legal Solutions. He's going to talk to us today about asset protection for real estate investors. And I have a brand new Ron Edwards notebook coming your way right now. We'll be back on the other side of the break.
The deep state swamp urchins continue to damage the United States by making life more difficult for sovereign U.S. citizens. Hello, I'm Ron Edwards. On today's page from the Edwards Notebook, we all know that the coronavirus situation will subside and go away, and Americans will be heading back to work. It is possible that some jobs will not be around when it's time to return to the workplace. That is why, among other reasons, it is infuriating to know that most likely, without President Trump's approval, deputies have announced that they have begun the process of importing 85,000 H-1B gig workers to take white-collar jobs that would be needed by millions of American graduates after October who have lost jobs during the coronavirus crash. At least 1 million white-collar jobs have been transferred to foreign workers so far, according to Marie Larson, a co-founder of the American Workers Coalition, which opposes the many visa worker programs that have transferred 1 million white-collar jobs to foreign workers. This H-1B gig preferential treatment of foreign workers at the expense of qualified Americans was not ordered or approved by President Trump. Roughly 100,000 new H-1B workers arrive annually, which I believe is a major component in the effort to de-Americanize the United States. Wake up, my fellow Americans. The republic you save may be your own if you're willing to try. I'm Ron Edwards. Sponsored by the Tri-County Liberty Coalition.
Don't just pass the IRS exams. Why not pass them all and get a solid tax education too? Visit irsexams.school and let the Tax Mama staff get you started today. All our live and self-study tax courses offer you the convenience to study online on your own time and have everything you need to succeed. Tax Mama teaches you tax law, practice, and representation from the ground up. That's irsexams.school. Why wait? Get enrolled today in our premium course or the self-study class. That's irsexams.school. It's way more than just a review course. It will improve your entire future.
Welcome back. You're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. I'm your business diva, Melanie Collette. My guest today is Scott Smith. He's the founder and CEO of Royal Legal Solutions, and he's going to talk to us today about asset protection for real estate investors. I'm very excited to have him on the show. And without further ado, attorney Scott Smith, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm excited to be on the show and talk to you guys about asset protection. I mean, it's, especially during this COVID type of crisis that's going on right now, there's just some really key things that I see the really top investors and top business people doing. It's really exciting stuff. It's all action steps. The things that you can actually do that can set yourself up in a better position to stay protected and seize opportunities, that are going to come available because that's opportunities become available in crisis.
Excellent. Well, before we dig in, I'd love for you to give the audience a little bit about your background.
Yeah, so I'm an attorney. I'm a longtime real estate investor. I'm an entrepreneur, and that's what I do is I help people grow their net worth from 0 to 5 million total net worth, and then a lot of times even beyond that. But our core skill set is going to be in that 0 to 5 million range. And what are the best practices that we see that people do there? So I got my own financial freedom through real estate investing. I was also a litigation attorney at the time. I was investing in real estate. I was making more money in real estate than I was litigation. So then I just started doing real estate, and I then had to help other people, structure their real estate because they didn't understand how to do the taxes and the accounting and the insurance and the banking and the legal structures and the trust structures and the estate planning and the finance and all of those pieces together. So after I left law to go real estate, then real estate actually, had me accidentally, in a way, kind of start a law firm to help people with the things that I had to build for myself.
You accidentally started a law firm. Okay.
Yeah, so that's just kind of it. It was just natural, It's like all the things I had to learn for myself, growing my own net worth and growing my own real estate portfolio, and then just helping other people essentially replicate what I had done. And that's the basis of Royal Legal Solutions. And we help clients all over the country. We have a staff of about 25 people. It doesn't matter where you live, what assets you have, or what you're doing. It's very likely that we're going to have some of the cutting edge strategies that can help you take you to the next level.
That makes a lot of sense. So let me ask you, you would think that, at least I would think, as a real estate investor, you all your properties and things usually have to be insured. No matter what you're doing, everybody likes to have their assets protected, and usually they do so through insurance or different kind of financial tools that they use, sometimes besides insurance. But apparently insurance isn't quite enough in order to preserve your properties.
Well, insurance only protects you against one claim, which is negligence. It doesn't protect you against any other types of claims. So people will say, hey, you breached this contract, or you told me something in an email that I relied on, and so I'm going to sue you for fraud because you misled me. So insurance is great. You should always have insurance, but it's really not sufficient to be able to really control your own protection. I mean, insurance companies are profit-seeking corporations. They're there to protect their interests and their shareholders, not to protect you. They're only there to do what's in the limits of the insurance policies. And this is what I did professionally, was sue insurance companies, because that's the game they play. And their check on them is attorneys that sue them. And that's what I used to do. And right now, I mean, I think people are even under a bigger threat than what happens with a lawsuit. I think the lawsuits are really important for people to know about right now, because you saw in 2008, 2009, a huge spike in lawsuits with only 1 million people becoming unemployed. And those people are filing, during that time period, filing frivolous claims to get paid because they're desperate. They're desperate people with desperate attorneys that are filing frivolous lawsuits so that way they can extort money out of the unprotected. And the unprotected is anybody that has assets in their personal name. If you have assets in your personal name, you're unprotected. You're a perfect target for them to go after. Right now, we just saw the unemployment numbers come out from last week that there were 6.5 million. So I'm already seeing the lawsuits come across my desk for people trying to sue my clients. My clients, we don't care about lawsuits. My clients are bulletproof to lawsuits. But for the rest of the country and everybody else out there that isn't protected, I'm really worried about them. Because if we saw a huge spike in 2008, 2009 with 1 million unemployed, we had 6.5 million. We're projecting over 10 million unemployed by this week. The numbers of lawsuits that are going to come from this with the desperate people looking to file claims to be able to get after your assets, that you're the one that has them and you're the one that they can find that's on the public record of right where those assets are, and they can try to go after them. Those are the people that are going to get hit, and it's not even like a guess. It's just a calculus. This happens every single time, and we have these types of economic conditions.
And this has the potential to be really huge because in this particular situation with COVID, you have the entire government, the entire economy really is shut down. So
where do they go for money, right? They don't have loan programs, but maybe they get that money in a month and a half or 2 months, and we're helping people do that too with our attorney staff, helping people walk through, here's how you maximize the money out of the loan programs. A lot of people are afraid to apply for them, don't know how to apply for them, all that stuff, right? So you got to get all the money that you can out of the loan programs, right? But then the next thing people are going to try to do is just take from the people that have. And that's what happens when they don't have enough, right? They don't get money from the job, they can't get money from the government. Where are they coming? They're coming for you because you're the guy that has something they can take.
That is really frightening when you think about it. I mean,
it's just the nature of the beast. It doesn't have to be, though, because it's only frightening if you don't do anything. If you just sit there in fear, you're dead. You got to take that fear, channel it into action to do things that you're otherwise would be afraid to do, and then the fear will subside. Happens every time. That's just the way fear works.
Fear
without action is panic. So you have to take fear and take action with it.
Absolutely. So say I'm sitting here, an investor, and I'm completely unprotected because I'm not one of your clients. So what would be one of your first recommendations? One of the first things that I should do is become a client.
You got to get all the cash you possibly can, right? So you need to be able to maximize the amount you're getting into your loan programs. You need to go out, get lines of credit or other types of cash that you can get out of your house and max those out. You're going to pay a little bit of interest, but that's what you just call cash insurance. Because running out of cash during a time like this is really, really bad, right? You can't afford to run out of cash if you can all protect yourself from being able to do it. By the way, you're also going to want cash if things recover and they're not as bad as you think, because that's when there's going to be opportunities to move and buy assets when they're on sale, because that's what happens inside the panic, is that you want to go and buy those. So first thing, cash is king. Got to maximize the cash. If you need help doing that, find somebody that can help you with that. We're helping people do that right now. Second thing you got to do is you got to be able to protect your assets, especially your real estate, using trust structures and LLC structures to both hide the assets. That way it looks like you don't own anything, because if it looks like you don't own anything, people don't come after you. And secondarily, you need to combine that trust structure that hides the asset with an LLC that makes it so that if they sue, they get little to nothing from that lawsuit, right? The reason that you do this is because the anonymity prevents them from filing a lawsuit in the first place, because it doesn't look like there's anything there to get. Lawsuits are expensive, so they're only going to do it if they think they can get something out of it. By using the LLC structures, now you minimize what they can actually recover if they do sue, make it little or nothing, and then you don't have to worry about the law. You don't have to worry about the facts, because what you've done is you've made it a really bad business decision for them to come after you, because if they come after you, it looks like they're going to get very, very little. So what they'll do is they just go to the next person, right, that's unprotected. It's like that old joke, right? Like, you don't got to be faster than the bear when, the bear chases you through the forest. You don't got to be faster than the bear. You just got to be faster than your friend. Same thing.
Right.
Scenario.
Right. Exactly. Exact same scenario. That makes a lot of sense, actually. Oh, man. Yeah. So I'm trying to think. So you're one of the first things I was not expecting that answer with gather all your cash, although it makes a super amount of sense in order for you to be.
Go ahead. You gotta have cash. But that's the deal, right? And you don't know who's going to stop paying you either, right? Because now they're putting money, the government's putting money in. They're also putting freezers in on people being able, you can't eject people from your properties. And even if you could eject people from your properties, you can't get new tenants in.
And I'm thinking, right? This is just going to totally roll downhill because you have people who are not going to be able to pay their mortgages because people don't have to pay their rent. And so how far it really just ends up in the lap of the banks, I would think.
No, it's banks and more bailouts. That's what we're going to end up with at the end of the day. It's going to be banks, bailouts, and legislation to try to get us back to a status quo. But the problem is, it's not going to happen. It's not 6 months from now or a year from now. How are we going to clean that up? I think the things that we got to focus on are what are the things that we can do today. Like today, can I get more cash? Or what things can I do today to get more cash? Secondarily, I say, I know lawsuits are we're going to spike within, a month and a half or 2 months from now. So I'm already seeing the uptick now. We're already seeing it start to happen, right? And that's that kind of extortion. They're going to try to be starting to extort people with these lawsuits. But if you get the protection in right now, when the lawsuits spike, you're already protected. The protection that I'm talking about only works if you do it proactively. Once you're sued, it's already too late. So if you do those things now you're in a great position to be able to ride out the storm. Why? Because you got cash and you put yourself in a position where people can't take from you.
Gotcha.
And now you're going to be able to weather it.
Now, is this part of the new company structure that helps you achieve this bulletproof protection?
We've been doing the bulletproof, making people bulletproof from litigation for over 60 years now. So for over the last 6 years, we've been focusing on real estate investors and entrepreneurs for how to do that, right? So this is not something that's necessarily new for us, but the urgency level to have this now is at an all-time high. Right, we're seeing that we're having more clients than ever come to us and say, "Hey, I've been waiting to put together asset protection because, hey, I thought I was doing things honestly, or I was pretty sure my insurance was gonna, just be okay, and now I'm starting to see that that's really insufficient. And right now, the scary monster isn't some elusive lawsuit that might happen sometime in the future. It's like 2 months away, and that I need to do it right now to make sure that I'm going to be safe."
Wow. Okay. So what kind of structure, actually, excuse me 1 second. I'm dealing with my new YouTube. I told you I was doing some new technology and I'm just moving around. I'm just moving around.
Yeah, and when you're looking at the types of structures you should use,
yes,
what I always recommend using is a series LLC structure, which you can form.
Go ahead.
What's up?
Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So you have the series LLC structure, which you can form in Delaware, Texas, Nevada, or Wyoming, and then you can use it anywhere else you want to inside the United States, right? Just like people use Delaware LLCs and they formed them there and use them everywhere else, you can do the same thing with a series LLC structure. You don't have to have a series LLC law in your state to be able to do that. And you want to use one of those 4 states because those are the states that have what's called charging order protection, which is what you need to have the LLC really stand up if attacked, right? And what you do is you combine the series LLC with trust structures. So the trust will create anonymity in your ownership of the company and also create anonymity in the ownership of the assets themselves, right? And then the LLC structure, in this case, a series LLC structure, allows you to compartmentalize every single asset for free. So that way, if they ever sue, they can get little to nothing from that lawsuit. And that's how you make the lawsuit not make business sense anymore. And I know a lot of people are like, well, what's a series LLC? Like, how does that work? Well, it works just like this. You have one parent company that you form in Delaware, Texas, Nevada, or Wyoming. You form it there, and it can create an infinite number of children, which we call child series. Right? So you have one parent and you have an infinite number of children. Each one of those children are treated just like LLCs for liability purposes. So essentially what you're able to do is create an infinite number of LLCs on your desktop for free. And you can manage everything for no matter how big your organization gets, right, or how many child series you get. You can do everything through one bank account, one EIN number, and one tax return. So at the end of the day, everything in our clients' lives stays exactly the same way it is right now as it touches them, but they have this protection structure that runs in the background to help them hold all of their assets anonymously, hold their companies anonymously, compartmentalize every asset, and make themselves bulletproof to litigation.
So, and because it's under the same EIN number or tax ID number for same thing as a tax ID number, are the tax implications for setting your business up this way negligible? Like there's no tax implications for that?
It'll stay exactly the same on your taxes. So the structures are completely flexible. So if you have a more complex tax situation, if you hit some different tax brackets, like you're over $50,000 and use an S corporation, or if you're over $130,000 and you start to incorporate a C corporation into your tax planning in terms of structuring, the structure that we use on the protection side is 100% flexible, right? So if you're not using any of those advanced strategies, it's something that we should talk about for sure. But just know that if you're just doing nothing, you're just reporting everything as your personal income underneath the Schedule E of your personal return, that's going to stay exactly the same way it is right now, with no additional returns required.
Oh, that's excellent, because as soon as you say Series LLC and then many children of the LLC, I'm like, wait a minute, are you going to have to? But since you said it was the same EIN number, I thought, well, maybe you're okay with the tax situation if it's the same EIN number. That's amazing. And this is when you definitely call in your tax professionals, though, I would imagine, either way, to make sure that you're doing everything right.
Yeah, it's actually really simple. I mean, we've streamlined this thing over the last 6 years to be extremely, extremely simple, right? So we have our own tax professionals in-house, and we also work with other people's professionals as well, as needed. But the reality of the situation is that it's the same number of tax returns. And if your tax professional, if you're not sure whether your tax professional is really adequately advising you on how to save the most amount of money on taxes, then that's also something that we can help with. Say, okay, here's what we've seen as best practices from the few thousand clients we work with all over the country. This is the way the best people seem to be doing it.
Excellent. Now, if you wanted to avoid transferring the assets, how would you do that?
Well, for any of these things to work, you have to transfer the asset from your personal name into the asset holding company. So what we do for that is that we actually transfer the asset into a land trust if it's a piece of real estate. That land trust is in turn owned by the child series of the Series LLC. Because it's a transfer to a land trust, we avoid the due on sale clause and any type of reassessments or anything associated with that. And we also get the anonymity with the ownership of it being owned by a trust. So all anybody will see is that you used to own an asset. That asset was then sold to a land trust. That's an anonymous land trust that they can't find out any other information about.
That was the next thing I was going to ask you, is that couldn't people just sue the trust? But you said it's anonymous.
It's anonymous, right? So people can sue the trust itself, right? Let's say somebody got catastrophically injured on your property, right? What they do is that they could sue the trust and they'd be able to say, hey, I'm suing the property itself, right? Because it's the property itself that caused me the damages. In that scenario, they'd be able to sue that property, but they wouldn't be able to sue any of your other properties. They wouldn't be able to sue you personally. So you just have that one property at risk. So if some people are in that scenario, they say, well, I have a lot of equity in this property. Maybe I have $50,000, $100,000 in equity in this property, and I want to make sure I don't lose any of that equity in that property. Well, what you do is you create an LLC that acts as your own mortgage company that's issuing private mortgages onto your own property, and you do a process that's called legally, it's called equity stripping, where your own private mortgage company places real mortgages onto your own property to essentially eat up the equity that's there. So if they decide to sue that property and they foreclosed on that asset, your bank would get paid out because they have the lien that's in first position. And then all of the rest of the money that the equity in the property gets paid out to your own mortgage company. Why? Because you have a lien that's attached to that property in second position. So there's no money that they're going to be able to get by suing that property.
Oh, wow. This is why you need incredibly good lawyers to do this stuff for you, like yourself.
Yeah, it helps having some experts on your team. I highly recommend it.
Wow. So, and I think you just answered this question, whether or not you could use the LLC in conjunction with the land trust. I think what you just did is explain how that could be done.
Yeah, and you work in a few different ways, right? So one of the things that people probably listening to this would be like, oh my God, this is drinking information from a fire hose right now from how fast this is. And so what I've done is I've actually created an hour and 45-minute video that I did in a single take of a 97-slide deck that I've done. I developed that over doing about 1,000 consultations with clients to build that slide deck.
You did it in
and I host it all on the Royal Legal Solutions website.
Wait a minute, you did it in one take? That's impressive.
Yeah, it's one take. Yeah, all you have to, if you go to RoyalLegalSolutions.com, you click on the banner, take a quiz or get a price, and it takes you to the next page. There's an hour and 45-minute video there with a quick page, and it's one take, an hour and 45-minute take, where it's like all of the asset protection strategies, all of the estate planning strategies, all of the tax strategies, just laid out in sequential order. So like the intention of that was to be like, if I died, this is my zeitgeist of like everything I know of the basics of, which are super advanced, but I still consider them the basics for what you need to have for wealth building through real estate.
Right. Well, it is, but it's not super complicated if you know what you're doing. But it's definitely, you want to have some professionals like yourself handle that. Now, we're up against the break. We have like 3 minutes to the break, so we're okay. If you have newly acquired assets, is this just as easy to do with newly acquired assets, or should it be some assets that are already existing?
Yeah, so already existing assets. Any assets a new assets that you acquire, we coach you through exactly like how to do that. But the reality is, at the end of the day, what you want to be doing is you want to be living like rich people live, right? Rich people don't own things and they don't pay taxes, right? But they're still always buying new stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how do they do that? It's because they're using structures that are like this. But now this is the first time that this has really been available with the work that I'm doing to the average real estate investor. That person that has one or more properties that they're saying, hey, you know what, I want to start operating in the correct way because I know that I'm going to be growing. You know, I know that my net worth is going to be growing, and I want to make sure that I don't have any backslides by getting hit with litigation. So it doesn't matter where the assets are held currently. It doesn't matter what assets you're getting in the future. The systems that we use work right with any type of asset at any time, anywhere.
That's excellent. That is absolutely excellent. I love it. So what about the banking, accounting, and insurance aspects?
Yeah, it's super simple, right? So all of your banking can go through one bank account. Your insurance policies stay exactly the same way they are right now. We're just going to add the name of the land trust to that existing insurance policy as an additional insured. When you want to finance a property, you'll finance a property in your personal name or whatever way you can get the cheapest financing, and then move it into the asset protection structure after the fact. Remember, we're moving that into the land trust, so we have the St. Germain Act and other laws that protect us to say, hey, we can legally do that, and there's nothing you can do about it. So you're able to take advantage of it in that way as well. So it's really simple. I mean, almost everything in your life would stays exactly the same way it is right now, and maybe even simplify it a little bit more with being able to have one set of accounting books and one bank account. And the accounting is really easy. All you have to do is just classify or tag the income and expenses for each property separately. But everybody's already doing that anyway, or at least you should be doing that anyway, because you need to know what your true ROI is for that property. So almost nothing really changes. It just adds a level of professionalism and organization to it.
And you have the same, even if you're using one bank account, you have the same kind of access and liquidity and ability to spend and buying, like, even if you're using, wow, that's amazing. We're up against a commercial break. When we come back, I want you to tell the listeners how they can avail themselves. Tell them about your services specifically and how they can avail themselves of your services. You offer a wide variety of things that clients can avail themselves of. And I love to talk about that on the other side of the break. As far as specifics, how they can reach out to you, that kind of thing. Okay, you're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. My guest today is Scott Smith. He's the founder and CEO of Royal Legal Solutions. He is giving us all the ins and outs of how we can protect our assets for real estate investors. Very interesting conversation. All the nuts and bolts that you will want to know. We are going right into a commercial break, and I'll see you in a couple minutes.
Don't just pass the IRS exams. Why not pass them all and get a solid tax education too? Visit irsexams.school and let the Tax Mama staff get you started today. All our live and self-study tax courses offer you the convenience to study online on your own time and have everything you need to succeed. Tax Mama teaches you tax law, practice, and representation from the ground up. That's irsexams.school. Why wait? Get enrolled today in our premium course or the self-study class. That's irsexams.school. It's way more than just a review course. It will improve your entire future.
Sense is Conservative Talk with Annie, the radio Dickie Bellis as host and C.S. Bennett co-host. Informative, fun, irreverent, and politically incorrect. You never know where they'll go, but you'll love the journey. Annie is a top conservative host on Top Talk Radio and features some of the finest guests packed with important politicians and newsmakers. Listen every Friday, 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern, noon to 3 Pacific on the SHR Media Network. Remember, Southern Sense is common sense.
Welcome back. You're listening to Money Talk with Melanie. My guest today is Scott Smith. He's the founder and CEO of Royal Legal Solutions, and he is talking to us today about asset protection for real estate investors. Very wonderful to have him on the show today. This is amazing. And so I want you to talk to the listeners about how they can avail themselves of your services. Is it this kind of situation where you take them on as a client under retainer, or are there specific services that you offer? How does it work?
Yeah, so what we do is the best thing to do is actually go to the royallegalsolutions.com website and then be able to click the banner at the top, and it'll take you to another page where you can see that hour and 45-minute video that I shot in that single take. It's 97-slide deck that I walk through that has all of the details of all the strategies that I use, right? So if you want just some free information that's really detailed and really tells you the nuts and bolts for you to get a really thorough education in a really quick time period, that's the best thing to do. Another great thing to do on that page is actually just fill out the quick quiz that we have there. That quiz actually gives us enough information to have a meaningful conversation with you on the very first conversation, and tells us, hey, look, I'm looking for some assistance. So we have the free options for information there, as well as a way for people to be able to reach out to us to say, like, what other types of free information you have that you can send me from PDFs or other information, or how can I talk to an attorney or talk to an advisor about some of the challenges I'm facing right now, obstacles I'm facing. I'll learn more about those and what I can do about it. So we do everything in Royal Legal Solutions is all done by objective fixed pricing, right? So we try as hard as possible to never bill anybody by the hour, because what we want to do is say, hey, this is where you're at, this is where you're going, this is exactly how much it's going to cost, because that puts you having the power, right? You're in the driver's seat about it. That's exactly what I want and what's going to cost, right? Otherwise, there's a situation where attorneys just keep billing you, right? I don't think anybody's happy with that system of it, right?
Right.
So that's what we do is say, like, hey, fill out the quiz, go to the website, click on the banner, come to the next page, fill out the quiz. We'll get in contact with you right away. We'll get you sit down with an advisor, and we can talk you through everything. I mean, talking about, like, through the loan programs, how to get access to cash, what you can be doing for your asset protection to protect yourself from lawsuits, how can you use estate planning to help you if you get stuck in the hospital, and who can make medical and financial decisions for you, or what happens if you die, to make sure your assets get passed to your kids the appropriate way and not caught up in probate court and all kinds of problems with that. So just a wealth of free info. We're just in the business of helping people right now. I mean, that's what I've told my staff. Like, we're not in the law business right now. We're in the helping people business. So reach out to us and let us help you.
Yeah, being in the helping people business is much better than being in the I want to charge you as much as possible per hour business.
Yeah. And we're all in this thing together, That's what I told my staff. I was like, listen, it's like we got to be talking to people, and I want everybody on the phone all day long, talking to people and figuring out what the problems are and how can we help them,
No, absolutely. Well, listen, I want to thank you so much for being on the show today. You did an excellent job.
Well, thank you. It was really great to be here. Thank you so much.
And I'm going to post the show is already on YouTube because I streamed it live on YouTube today, but I'm going to post it as a podcast. It'll be in iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio. It'll be everywhere in about 24 hours.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. And I hope you check out what we have going on at the royallegalsolutions.com website, and I hope everybody else does too. So
sure.
Thank you so much.
Excellent. Can we follow you on social media anywhere? I usually ask that.
Yeah, it's always good. I have a big Facebook page. We have a Facebook group, Tax, Legal, and Asset Protection Secrets for Real Estate Investors. That's a place where I'm actually interacting with personally to answer people's questions absolutely free, share what the latest resources I'm looking at.
What's the page on Facebook?
It's Tax, Legal, and Asset Protection Secrets for Real Estate Investors. It's a mouthful.
I'm just putting it in the chat here.
Okay, perfect.
That's all so people can see it on Facebook. Okay. And anywhere else?
Yeah, we also have our Royal Legal Solutions YouTube page. I think we have like over 100 videos.
Nice.
Me talking through a lot of the strategies we use. So if you're watching this on YouTube, that's a great place to go check it out.
Excellent. Excellent. Twitter?
No, we don't do the Twitter or IG. Yeah, just on Facebook and the YouTube.
No, that's terrific. Thank you so much for being on the show. I appreciate it very much. I just want to make sure I got all that stuff out there and onto the
Awesome.
onto the stream. And
Thank you.
I hope you come back someday.
Of course. Yeah, I'd love to come back anytime.
All right. Thanks a lot, Scott. You have a great evening.
Thanks, you too. Bye-bye.
Thanks. I want to thank everybody for listening to the show. I want to thank Doug, my unpaid publicist, Doug Paz, and in the YouTube chat for finding me on YouTube when I couldn't even find myself. This is my first time streaming on YouTube. If you're listening to this as a download, thank you so much for listening to this as a download. I really appreciate it on any of your podcast platforms. I want you all to remember that this is all very important because after all, it's your money. Have a great night.